Here we go. This is the final run, isn't it? The last breath of the Behaviour SpongeBob games. Last little bit of content from the SpongeBob games made by Behaviour Interactive. Last itty bitty bit. So this has been kind of a ride so far, mostly because of playing this right alongside Hero Pants. The thing about playing Hero Pants is that when you play it... Oh, also, the Bikini Bottom levels look gorgeous, by the way. They look great. Anyway, the thing about playing Hero Pants alongside another 3D platformer is... Oh, a new enemy type. This enemy type, if they touch you, they deal damage, so you can't melee attack them, like you could the normal small robots. Anyway, the thing about playing Hero Pants alongside another 3D platformer is that it made Hero Pants seem inadequate and terrible. The thing about playing Plankton's Robotic Revenge alongside another third-person shooter is that it still feels alright. It doesn't make you hate it and want to play something better. Or at least it doesn't make me hate it and want to play something better. From the general consensus on the internet, I can gather that a lot of people hate Plankton's Robotic Revenge and desperately would like to play something they think is better. I don't think it's all that bad. I think it's a pretty alright party game. Should really be played with friends or family. Playing it alone, probably not great. Sometimes I play it alone just for fun, because it's a good game to relax with. I've played this game so many times at this point, it's gone beyond ironic humor, and it's just something I played a lot. Like, what are we at now? 6 times, I think, I've played this. And I'm trying to figure out why, but I really can't. I think it's just because the game is chill. If that makes sense, it's a very relaxing game to play. It's got the right mix of paying attention to all these red circles on screen that are trying to fuck you, and just sort of chilling out. You know, your reflexes are doing most of the work. Avoid the red circles, hold shoot. You know, you're basically on autopilot. You know, this is the kind of game where you could easily hold a full conversation with another person while playing. Now, I have not yet mastered the ability to hold a full conversation over text while playing this, but in person, absolutely. You can have a full conversation with someone while playing this game. It can be philosophical, too. You don't need to limit yourself to shit like the weather or video games. You know, you can talk about whatever the fuck you want. So there's a new spinner type, one that rotates and shoots water blasts. That's why our characters were jumping incessantly before, because of this new enemy type that spins and shoots water blasts. Because, you know, you want to jump to get over those. And since it fires water blasts constantly until you deal with it, it's better to just always be in the air, just to be safe. That's why our characters were always jumping like mad. But yeah, you know, I guess the reason I've played this game so many times is just because it's a good game to relax with. I've played this game through so many times, and just idly played it without playing it all the way through so many times, that I actually looked into modding this game very, very briefly. I pretty much immediately realized that modding Wii games is well beyond my skill set right now, but I did look briefly into modding this game. And this was born because while I was playing this game around my sixth time through, excuse me, I thought to myself, why isn't this game just a roguelike? The game isn't as mechanical as Hero Pants, but it's mechanical enough that you can single out the environment and enemy types and hazards into types. And you could copy and paste them around using a random algorithm without causing much damage or noticeable difference. The enemy types could definitely be randomly pasted, without a question, especially if you've played the game before. Now, the biggest issue would be that the game couldn't really end, because the boss fights can't be randomized so much, so it would just be a kind of game where you see how far you can get before you inevitably lose. You might also want to raise the power cap on the weapons, like make the weapons even stronger, so that way they take longer to upgrade and the reward is better. And also increase the amount of enemies on screen at once, but that might destroy the Wii. I have no idea. But after I realized how unreasonable that idea was, and how I would never be able to mod something like that, I just sort of thought, you know, what could have been if this game were a roguelike? The answer is I'd like it even more, in case you were curious. I still like it a lot, but a roguelike version of this game with a higher power cap for the weapons, yeah, I'd probably play that a lot, almost as much as Shred It. Maybe if I ever become mega rich and successful, I will look into someone making me a randomizer hack for SpongeBob Plankton's Robotic Revenge on the Wii, or whatever console it's easiest to mod for. For all I know, the 3DS version could be easier to mod. I prefer it on the Wii, but you know, maybe it'll be cheaper on the 3DS. Look at me talking about things that will never happen, because who has the kind of money to drop on making someone make you a custom SpongeBob SquarePants video game mod? Anyway, the real point of this entire ramble was to establish just how much I like Plankton's Robotic Revenge. Now again, I want to clarify, I think Plankton's Robotic Revenge is pretty average. I think it's okay and fun with friends. Alright? But I like the game a lot. I like the game way more than is proportionate to its level of quality. Like, if I only liked the game proportionate to its level of quality, would not like it nearly this much, would not have played it nearly this many times. How much I like the game, almost entirely independent of how good it is. Really, almost not related at all. But I still wanted to establish that I really, really like it. Now that we're done establishing how much I enjoy this game, we can see they finally introduced moving platforms as actual hazards, instead of just bits of scenery to ride on. We'll see some more of those floating jellyfish platforms later, but it's worth noting that as simple as the platforming in this game is, and how little it appears, it's still more challenging and satisfying than the platforming in Hero Pants. It's more satisfying because it's more challenging, I want to be clear. But that's because the jumping in this game seems intentionally limited in such a way to make those simple moving platforms more difficult to traverse. While in Hero Pants, not only were none of the platform layouts difficult, but the platforming itself and the mechanics of platforming made the platforming even easier than it otherwise would have been. We'll get to see a little bit more of the platforming right up ahead, you can probably see from this angle. It's just, I feel like it's really worth mentioning how the platforming in this game is better, because there's so much more in Hero Pants. But it just matters so much less. This even looks like it would be less satisfying than the platforming in Hero Pants, right? But it's not. Because you actually have to try. You don't have to try a lot, but you can't just turn your mind off completely during these sections. Only most of the way. You can only turn it off most of the way. I think maybe the reason I can relax well with this game and not Hero Pants is because I don't think this game is depressing. Like, this game doesn't make me sad. There's also the variety in weapons and the fact that you get a tangible reward for defeating enemies. Like, you don't get a reward for defeating enemies in Hero Pants, so there's no reason to fight anything. But in this game, you get a reward for killing enemies, so even when you don't have to fight them, it's still a good idea. The enemies are also more fun to fight in this game. Really, there's a lot of reasons this game is more fun to chill with than Hero Pants. Now I feel bad for comparing the two. But yeah, this game definitely on my list of games that I find comforting to play, along with Whittle Tree Adventures, Shred It, Invisimals, and one other game you haven't seen yet, but you will later.
He hit me wallet! Ouch! It stings!
I kind of wonder how this game would have been received if it were released as a downloadable title for like $10 instead of as a retail title for $30. Granted, if it were released as a downloadable title for $10, I might not be able to play it right now because it might have been removed from stores, but I wonder if the reception to the game would have been better, because I think it would have. I mean, That's not to say that other downloadable SpongeBob games got great reception, because a lot of people hated Underpants Slam. But maybe if this game cost $10, you know, people would have been more receptive to it. Because a downloadable, third-person, family-friendly party shooter that you can play for just $10 and it's really colorful, you know, I could see some people getting on board with that. Oh no, it's Plankton. This is one of the more unique set pieces in the game, probably the most unique set piece in the game. It's noticeably different from everything else in the game so far. Little odd how much different it is, honestly. Like, if the whole game were full of set pieces like that, it would be an entirely different game. I didn't realize how much this game feels like a downloadable title until I said it just there. Now I kind of feel like maybe that would have been the best decision for Activision, money-wise, is to release this game as a downloadable title. Because printing physical copies for, I think it's 5 different consoles, that's kind of expensive. And I know this game probably didn't cost a lot to make, so maybe releasing it downloadable only would have been a better decision. It's not like the sales were great. In fact, the sales for this game are what you might call kind of not very good at all. Still better than Hero Pants, but still. Not great sales, no. So maybe that would have been a better financial decision, it would have led to better critical reception and better consumer reception if this game were released download only. It's hard to see a game like this being released on WiiWare, to be fair. But on the PS3 and Xbox 360 stores, yeah, this would be right at home. I won't say this game is exhausting or anything to Let's Play, but part of me is glad that it's almost over. Again, it's not because I don't like the game. As was established, I like the game an arguably unhealthy amount. It's just, it's still hard to talk about, even after all this time. Even after my opinions on it have changed so much. It's still difficult to talk about. I can tell you this winding bridge section, I like the way that they changed the camera angle, so it's easy to tell which way you're supposed to run, so you don't lose your footing. That's kind of cool. But it's not like this game is remarkable enough to talk about, and even if it were remarkable enough to talk about, it might still be difficult due to the nature of the game progression itself.
Hey, Plankton, what are you doing?
Don't bother me now, kid. The third key to the safe is around here somewhere, and I intend to find it.
You'll never find it, Plankton, because I'm the one who hid it. And even I don't remember where I put it.
Well, the map says it's around here somewhere. That or it's a blasted sesame seed. I tell you, this map is confusion! Once you pesky meddlers are out of the way, I will find that key and claim my rightful place as ruler of all Bikini Bottom!
Not so fast, Plankton! You have forgotten one crucial detail.
Oh yeah? What's that, numbskull?
Yeah, Patrick, what is it?
What's what?
The crucial detail?
Oh, why forget?
Welcome to the final boss. The Plankton bot throws all the things the other bosses threw at us, but better. So he's just like all the other bosses, but better. We'll see all the gimmicks we've already seen before. Which makes this a good time to talk about the game as a whole, except I already did that. So instead, what we're going to talk about is how it feels good to finally have a Let's Play of this game and Hero Pants Out side by side. So that way this chapter of SpongeBob's licensed games saga is closed. The two games made by Behaviour Interactive and published by Activision, and probably the only two games that will ever be published by Activision and developed by Behaviour Interactive. That's probably never going to happen again. You know, it's hard for me to feel negatively toward a publisher in, like, broad strokes. Because usually, no matter what the publisher is, they do a lot right and a lot wrong. I feel like Activision is also a good example of that. I know they're capable of publishing very good children's games, because they're responsible for the entire Skylanders series, which accidental or not, is great. And I still think it's the greatest children's game series of all time. So I know that they can do better than Hero Pants. I know this. And that just makes me frustrated at Hero Pants even more. Because that means that Activision did not give it the adequate time it needed to be made into an actually good game. Or the adequate money, for that matter. Because I also know for a fact that Behaviour Interactive can make good 3D platformers. They've made a lot of good 3D platformers, not the least of which is Scalar, which looks gorgeous, and, you know, it's a good game all around. So Hero Pants had the potential to be something great if it were given more time and money. And Activision had the money and presumably the time, but they just didn't feel like taking that risk, I suppose. And they felt like taking so little risk that I assume that's why the game is an absolute mess. Which is a shame. Like, with Skylanders, they released a game each year, but they had 2 developers working on that license. Maybe they should have, you know, allocated their resources better for SpongeBob. Maybe start working on that SpongeBob Hero Pants game shortly after the movie was announced. Doesn't even have to be when it was announced to the public. I know a lot of licensed game developers communicate with the people who make films directly, or at least they used to. I don't know if that was an option, but that would have been a good idea. Like, the people behind the 2003 Hulk video game communicated directly with the staff of the film. The people behind the Incredibles video game communicated directly with the staff of the Incredibles. Not going to say the Incredibles is the height of licensed game design or anything. Some of those rooms are just outright fucking sadistic, but, you know, there was a lot of effort and time and love put into that game. You know, it's just everything about Hero Pants that should have been better. Film games don't have to be like that. Behavior's games don't have to be like that. Activision's children's platformers don't have to be like that. But at least we still got Plankton's Robotic Revenge out of it, which is, you know, it's okay. So at least we got that for our troubles. The boss fight is about to enter its final phase, where it will change things up entirely. And that's when I'll stop commentating and let you enjoy the rest of the boss battle and the ending. Thank you for coming with me on this journey. I mean, I think we can still call it a journey, even if it wasn't the most exciting journey. We did uncover video game history, though, in the form of missing cheats. So that's cool, right? That's cool.
Defeated again! Why is it that even with my superior intellect, powerful technology, and dashing good looks, I cannot realize my dream of fast food supremacy?
Perhaps it's because you are a puny, annoying pest.
That's one reason.
Enjoy this moment all you want, Krabs. It doesn't matter anyway. Someday soon I will find that final key, and then victory will be mine!
Does it matter? Matter? Matt? Hold that thought. There you are, me little beauty. Now I'll just open that safe, and the Krabby Patty formula will be back in its rightful hands. The formula is in your pocket. My pocket? Oh, and so it is. I had it with me all along. Davy Jones's ghost time, clever.
You mean we did all that for nothing?
Well, not for nothing, Squidward. I think we all learned a valuable lesson.
Oh, and what was that, SpongeBob?
We learned that before you fight a giant robot army, always remember to look in Mr. Krabs' pocket.
Words to live by.
I sure am glad things are back to normal here at Bikini Bottom. Say, I wonder whatever happened to those batteries anyway.
Oh, what batteries?
Oh, never mind. By the way, Patrick, the reception on your television sure is incredible.
Well, thank you very much. More pickles?
2 gherkins, please.